The MacBook Neo, is it a piece of junk? Steve Jobs reportedly said in 2008 that Apple couldn't produce a $500 computer without it being a piece of junk. Well, the MacBook Neo for the base model is $600. Is it a piece of junk? Absolutely not. In fact, it's quite staggeringly good. And I hope to demonstrate that in this video. So let's look first at the build quality. Well, here it is. And I think you can see that it's just a MacBook. It's got the standard aluminium enclosure. It's got the modern style like other like the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. Beautiful rounded corners, lovely finish. I mean, it's beautiful. It's excellent. It's just a MacBook. Apple is not skimped in any way in terms of build quality. So that's not an issue. Now the one I've got here is the base model, 256GB with no Touch ID. I don't miss either of those. I don't need the 512GB. I'm not planning to use it to store any large files. Touch ID would have been nice, but as I suspected, it works with my Apple Watch anyway for logging on and opening applications, Apple Pay and so on. So it's not an issue. So the build quality is excellent. So what about the display? Yeah, okay, it's only 13-inch, only LCD, only 60 Hertz, no P3 color gamut, no ProMotion obviously, but it doesn't matter. It's still an excellent display up to Apple's usual qualities. The colors are rich and bright, the contrast is excellent. Photos look great on it, websites, I mean it's still an excellent display and more than adequate for this device. 13-inch, it's a little small. I'm used to a 16-inch MacBook Pro and a 27-inch studio display, and I do like big displays, but I must admit I don't have any problems with using this. It's still a retina display, what Apple calls liquid retina, I think, which means that it's got a very good resolution on it. It's in fact, let me check, 2408 by 1506 pixels at 219 ppi, so better screen than you get on a lot of budget Windows laptops, which are often only HD, 1920 by 1080. This is better, and hence it's a retina display. You get lovely sharp text. Scrolling is perfectly smooth. I mean, the display is absolutely fine. It's a really good display. Obviously, if you want ProMotion, if you want a bigger display, if you want P3 color gamut, then you can go for the MacBook Pro. I'm not sure about the MacBook Air. I think this is basically actually the same display as on the MacBook Air, only smaller. So it's a perfectly good, excellent display. The keyboard and trackpad are both up to Apple's usual standards. The keypad, the keyboard is really nice to type on. I mean, I'm not a writer. I don't write for a living. I don't do a lot of typing. I'm not a touch typist. So in that sense, I can't comment on how good it would be for someone who does that. But it seems to me to be just as good as on my MacBook Pro, as on the Magic Keyboard that I have for my Mac Studio. Seems perfectly fine. The trackpad. Well, again, that's up to Apple's usual excellent standards, and Apple has a reputation for having the best trackpads, and I think this keeps up with that. It's an actual physical trackpad. It's not what I think it's what's called a haptic trackpad or force. Is it called a force trackpad on MacBook Pro and so on? You actually have to physically depress it to click, but again, it's not a problem. I mean, I really don't notice any difference using this trackpad compared to the one on that I use on my MacBook Pro, for example. And it has all the standard gestures, 3-finger, 4-finger, and so on, scrolling. Again, Apple haven't skimped here. It's really nice trackpad. The audio system is also good. It's got a couple of speakers which I have to say are surprisingly good. I thought perhaps that might be one area where it fell down a little. Now they're not as good as on MacBook Pros. They haven't quite got the bass, but they're certainly fine. I mean, you can listen to music okay on them. It doesn't sound tinny. There's enough bass. The sound is of good quality. And obviously for watching TV shows and movies, it's great. I mean, they do support spatial audio, so if you're watching movies with Dolby Atmos sound, you will get some of that effect. Maybe not as good as, say, on a MacBook Pro, but it's fine. I don't think anyone listening to these speakers would be disappointed. And also the microphone, again, does seem very good. I tested that, and it looked, in fact, as if it records in 32-bit, which, you know, rather than just 24-bit, which of course is an advantage if you want to edit it. That's quite useful. So again, the microphone's fine, and in fact, the webcam too, although again, not great. I mean, Apple's webcams on MacBooks have never been fantastic, but this one seems to be an improvement on what they've had in the past. It's good enough. I mean, if you want, you want to do FaceTime or Zoom calls, then I think you'll find that the webcam and microphone, the built-in ones, are perfectly adequate for that. Obviously, you could attach a separate webcam if you want, although of course that that makes it less convenient. I mean, you can use, of course, if you've got an iPhone, you can use continuity camera, which is, again, it's an extra thing you have to do, but it's there. But to be honest, I think that for vast majority of people using the MacBook Neo on video conferencing, the built-in webcam and microphone would be fine. What about connectivity? Well, of course, it only has the two USB-C ports, and only one of them, the one at the back, the one nearest the back of the computer, is the fast one. Is USB 3, isn't it? I think it's called, which has the faster data transfer speeds, and also the display port support if you want to attach an external monitor. As far as attaching external monitor, I think it's the case that it only supports a display up to 4K at 60 Hertz, so you couldn't attach it to a 5K display, a studio display, for example. I think that's correct. But I don't think that's got to be an issue, again, for what most people would be using this notebook for. And of course, only having two ports and no MagSafe charging port means that if, in order to charge it, you have to use one of the ports. And of course, if you are using it on mains power, connected up to one of the ports, then obviously you're only left with one other port. That might be an issue for some people who would like more connectivity, but of course, again, you have the option of attaching a USB-C dongle, a hub, which there are several, lots available, and doubtless manufacturers will be perhaps producing hubs and dongles specifically for the MacBook Neo. So I don't think that's going to be an issue, again, for most people. If you need the extra ports, then a dongle will do. It's an extra expense, although they're not very expensive. Finally, let me talk about performance, which is an area where perhaps people are concerned, given that the MacBook Neo is running an iPhone chip, the A18 Pro. it only has 8 GB of RAM, and the SSD inside is relatively slow. I say relatively because SSD speeds are so good now that even this relatively slow SSD I found to be perfectly fine. Well, let me say straight away that as far as I can see, performance is excellent. I've had absolutely no issues whatsoever in running applications. They load pretty much instantaneously. You can have lots of applications running at once and swap between them. Again, pretty much instantaneously. I haven't noticed any lag. I mean, you can see that here where I'm demonstrating using the MacBook Neo. As you can see, very smooth scrolling, smooth switching between applications. It's not an issue. The fact that it only has 8 GB of RAM and that it's using an A18 Pro rather than an M series chip, it's just not an issue. I mean, the performance is excellent. I mean, as I said before, you're not going to be using this Neo for heavy-duty video editing and photo editing and so on, although apparently it will do that, albeit more slowly. But since it's almost certainly going to be bought by people wanting it as an everyday computing device for standard, web browsing, email, etc., then performance is absolutely not an issue. It really does perform very well. And one big advantage of the fact that it's an A18 Pro rather than an M series chip is that it means that the battery life is spectacular. I mean, it lasts all day, no problem at all. And in fact, and that of course is due to the excellent performance per watt of the power efficiency of Apple Silicon. And indeed, one advantage of having the A18 Pro rather than an M series is that I believe that the power efficiency of the A series chips is even better than the M series, although it's excellent for those as well. So a real bonus of this device is the battery life. So overall then, I've just got nothing but praise for this MacBook Neo. I think Apple are onto a real winner. I think it's a triumph for them. It's, as I said in my little short video, the only thing that makes it a budget computer is the price. In every other respect, build quality, performance, display, keyboard, trackpad, webcam, I mean everything on it is really good. It's not the top things that you could have, obviously. You get better display on a MacBook Pro, you get more RAM, but for what you're paying, $600 or $700 if you go for the Touch ID model, although I don't think most people, unless you need the extra storage, probably need to do that. So for the money, you're getting a really excellent quality MacBook. It's not, it's up to the Apple standards. They've done a great job, and I would strongly and heartily recommend it to anybody who's wanting a device for everyday computing.